look at the dollar CAD, and the first thing, as we usually do, we look at the weekly chart. And this here is one is a, remember when from last week our structure point was the 102.05. We traded last week, we were below, we made the low as of 1006, only to turn around the following week, which is last week, and we did trade above the 102.05, and that was our trade plan from last week, to go long the dollar CAD above the 102.50, and we closed the week at 102.64. Even though this might not seem to be a big move, but it is a very powerful move, because as we well know that the Canadian should or is a very strong currency, yet we came back and traded above the 102. We placed a high of the week of 103 or 17, and we closed the week at 102.64. So that is a strong close. It is a good range for the week, and we had a good close, a good strong for the week. And you can see it more clearly on the daily chart. That is the 102.05, which we identified from last week as our buying point. That first thrust that we had to the upside was a big range, which was extremely indicates that this is a valid structural point when it breaks it with a momentum like this. And then we came back and retested, look at these 2 days here, retesting the 102.05. That tells us what? That this is a very powerful point, because after that big move, they tried to sell it down, and with all the weakness that came into the dollar on Friday, the market has closed at 102.64, 60 pips above the 102. So this is brilliant for us. This is fantastic. It is an easy trade. It's a gimme trade. We do not want to touch this dollar CAD short unless it trades below the 102.05. As long as it's above the 102.05, we're only looking to be buyers of the dollar CAD, and we're going to place our stop below the 102.50. And we're going to find every opportunity that we can possibly to go to buy the dollar CAD. And as I said, it's an easy trade. It's a gimme trade. We will only go short below the 102.05, and if we are going to go long right here at 102.64, you're going to place your stop below the 102. So it might be a big wide stop, but that is the correct stop that we have to take. And our structural point is still as is, the trying to find the structure long on the weekly. So it's 103.39. Okay, so the structural point to the upside is the 103.39. All right, so that, as I said, that's a gimme trade. It's an easy trade. So let's look at, and again, when you put those structural points, guys, the ones that are not with us in the room, you can draw, you go to your intraday chart and you draw a horizontal line, and that will tell you like this. See this? Why is the screen stopped? Hold on, guys, the screen has stopped. I'm gonna refresh it again from my side. Mike and James, please keep an eye. If the screen doesn't move, just send me a private, Mike, so I'll just make sure that. Okay, so what I was trying to show you is this. That is our structure point, the 102.05 right there. Okay, now we're above it, so that's an, as I said, it's a gimme trade, it's an easy trade. We are going to be a buyer and we're going to place our stop here. And what you do is you take this line and you put it on your intraday chart, so at least you get your bearings while you're trading. So right there I put the price of the same line, the 102.05, and right there, so as soon as when you see that the prices are trading from last week, you see the prices come here right there above the 102.05. That was our trade from last week. Then you have a no-brainer trade and you take it from the 102.05, even though with all this noise, you see it came back to the 102.05. See how it held over here? This is your telltales that this now is a structure point. That is a long point. Now you respect it. You give it the respect it needs, and you take the trade with a lot of confidence, because again, it's a high probability trade. It came above the 102.05, it came back and tested it, and you know where we got the 102.05. You can see it on your charts, so you can enter the trade right here, right there, guys, at the 102.10. Remember I was saying the three choices: buy, sell, or do nothing. As long as the price is trading at 102.10 above the 105, selling is no longer an option. You're only a buyer, or you do nothing. And if you buy it, you're taking the high probability trade. What is my exit if I'm wrong? You buy it at 102.10, you're placing your stop right here. So you're risking 10 pips, you're taking the high probability trade, and you get the move to the upside from here all the way. It takes you, there is your move, and it takes it with momentum, and you take it from 102. You made 70-80 pips on that trade. Okay, so make sure you copy these lines and put them on your screen so that you can identify in the heat of the battle, and right at the moment you can interpret the charts and know what the meaning of the price points are. Okay, so let's do the dollar CAD. Right now we are, I'm gonna put the short point because it's already have 05, 02, 05. That's our short point, and it is also my long stop. If I'm going to find a place to enter a buy, but wherever I find a place to enter the buy, our stop is below the 102.05, because again, above that I still want to be a buyer. I have evidence from the chart. And my short point is right there from where I have it. And if I go short, that's, as I said, it's a gimme trade, so my stop is right above the 102. I'm going to use that 102.05 as my short entry, my short stop, and the only thing that, and my structure point. It is a structure point. It is a long end. It is below it. We are going to go short, and if I go short, I don't want it to come back above it, because if it comes back above the 102.05, this is what's going to happen, and I don't want this to happen to me. So I'm using it as a short entry and a stop and a structure point. So I'm now going to try to find an entry for my long trade. That's also easy. We can buy it above the 102.81. So my buying point, long point, is above 102, 1.0281. And if I buy it above the 10, let's see, my structure short this is when I love these trades, is that when you get one price point that is right there, it is your structure short, it is your short point, it is your stop, and that's it. I mean, it's so. And the long structure point is the 105 right there. I'm taking it from here, is the 105.89. Okay, and as I said, you want to be buyers of the dollar CAD as long as it gets above the 102.81. We're only going to go short right here. This is our short point, because this above the 102.05, there is no reason for us to go even consider shorting the dollar versus the CAD, especially what I showed you on the index, how powerful the move is to the upside. All right, so let me show you the radar